What if I told you that the comfort you're chasing today might be the very thing that weakens you tomorrow? Life has a strange way of teaching us this lesson, slowly, quietly, and often without us noticing. The Stoics understood it centuries ago. Ease is not always progress. Sometimes it's decay in disguise. In a world that works tirelessly to remove every obstacle and every little discomfort, we've grown used to expecting convenience at every turn. But here's the paradox. It's the very friction we avoid that shapes us into something stronger. Without resistance, the mind becomes fragile. Without hardship, endurance fades. The Stoic approach wasn't about living without emotion or becoming unfeeling. On the contrary, they embraced emotions as a natural part of being human. What they trained for was the ability to prevent those emotions from blurring their judgment or twisting their perception of reality. The aim was never to erase feeling, but to guide it with discipline and reason. Think about this. Every excuse you make is a tiny brick in a wall that separates you from the life you could be living. Every time you dodge discomfort, you're turning away from the very process that builds character. The Stoics knew that to grow, you had to meet life head-on, with a mind prepared for chaos and a heart steady under pressure. So the real question is, are you avoiding the struggle, or are you training in it? Strength of mind isn't something you're born with. It's not inherited from your parents, gifted by luck, or handed over by society. It's forged, one disciplined choice at a time. And if you're not making those choices, someone else is making them for you. The Stoics didn't wait for the right moment to become strong. They understood that life doesn't send you an invitation to prepare for its storms. The storms arrive unannounced. The only question is, will you have the inner armor to withstand them? We live in a culture obsessed with shortcuts, faster results, easier routes, instant solutions. But the Stoics knew that shortcuts don't just cut time, they cut away the very substance that builds resilience. The workout you skip, the conversation you avoid, the responsibility you delay, each one chips away at your strength until you don't even realize how fragile you've become. And here's the truth no one wants to admit. Avoiding hard things doesn't protect you. It leaves you unprepared for when hard things are unavoidable. For Marcus Aurelius, hardship wasn't a threat, it was a teacher. He treated discomfort like a blacksmith treats fire, not something to run from, but something to work with. Every challenge, every trial was raw material for becoming unshakable. So ask yourself, in the moments when life pushes back, do you push forward or do you step aside? Because every step you take in the heat of struggle is a step toward becoming the kind of person who can't be easily broken. And that's where the Stoic secret truly unfolds. Every difficulty isn't just something to survive, it's an opportunity to train. Think about it. Most people view challenges as interruptions to their real life. But for the Stoics, challenges were life. They were the gym where the mind trained, the arena where character was tested, the forge where spirit was tempered. Seneca once wrote that a sailor doesn't pray for calm waters, he prays for the skill to navigate storms. Why? Because calm seas never made a master sailor. In the same way, easy days never made a resilient mind. Modern life tempts us to choose comfort over challenge, and in the moment it feels like the smart choice. Why push yourself? Why suffer? But here's the paradox. By dodging the short-term discomfort, you create long-term weakness. The muscles of discipline, patience, and focus can only grow under resistance. This doesn't mean running toward pain for the sake of having it. It means reframing your view of struggle. That frustration you feel when something doesn't go your way, that's resistance training for your patience. That moment when fear whispers you can't, that's a mental sparring match where courage earns its stripes. And here's the real beauty. The more you embrace these moments as training, the less you see them as threats. Over time, your instinct shifts from avoidance to engagement. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, how can I use this to grow? So as we move into the next part, keep this in mind. Strength isn't just about standing tall in the storm, it's about learning to dance in the rain. If you can learn to dance in the rain, you can also learn to see discomfort as one of your greatest teachers. Every generation has tried to escape hardship, but history keeps proving the same truth. When we remove every challenge, we remove the very conditions that create strong people. The Stoics didn't just accept discomfort, they scheduled it into their lives. Marcus Aurelius practiced sleeping on a hard bed. Seneca took cold baths. Epictetus, once a slave, turned every insult into an exercise in patience. Why would they choose discomfort when they could choose ease? Because they knew that comfort is addictive. The more you have, the more you fear losing it, and fear is the real prison. Modern society is built to feed that addiction. Instant delivery, on-demand entertainment, climate-controlled everything. And while there's nothing wrong with enjoying these conveniences, the danger comes when they become a necessity for your happiness. The Stoics flipped that dependency on its head. They trained themselves to live well with less, so that life's uncertainties couldn't break them. If they lost something, they'd already practiced living without it. That's not just resilience, that's freedom. So here's your challenge. Instead of asking, how can I be more comfortable? Start asking, how can I be more capable? The answer will almost always involve a little more friction, a little more resistance, and a lot more growth. Because in the end, it's not comfort that prepares you for life's storms. It's the deliberate choice to step into discomfort again and again until it becomes your training ground. In the next part, we'll explore how controlling your mind under pressure can be the most powerful skill you ever develop. If discomfort is the body's training ground, then pressure is the mind's. And the Stoics knew that a mind left untrained is like a ship without a captain. It will drift wherever the winds of emotion push it. In moments of stress, most people react. They let anger explode, fear freeze them, or frustration cloud their judgment. The Stoic response was different. They aimed to pause, assess, and act with intention. Marcus Aurelius famously reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wasn't about denying emotions, it was about preventing those emotions from becoming the driver of your actions. Imagine standing in a crowded street when someone bumps into you. An untrained mind might instantly get defensive or lash out. A trained mind would register the bump, recognize it as insignificant, and move on without wasting energy. That discipline doesn't come from wishful thinking, it comes from constant practice. The Stoics rehearsed worst-case scenarios in their minds, so that when real challenges arrived, they weren't caught off guard. They visualized loss, hardship, and even death, not to dwell on negativity, but to strip fear of its power. And here's the key. Once you can keep a steady mind under pressure, you gain a freedom most people will never know. You stop being a puppet to circumstances and start becoming the author of your own responses. As we move forward, remember this. Physical strength can be broken by injury, wealth can be taken by misfortune, but the fortress of a trained mind, that's yours for life. In the next part, we'll uncover how purpose transforms resilience from a survival tool into a way of life.
A trained mind is powerful, but without a purpose to guide it, even the strongest mind can lose its way. The Stoics understood this deeply. Resilience wasn't just about enduring hardship, it was about enduring for something. When you have a clear purpose, struggles take on meaning. Obstacles stop feeling like random punishments and start feeling like stepping stones toward a goal. Marcus Aurelius led an empire through war and plague, yet he wrote in his journal about duty, service, and the importance of living in harmony with nature and reason. His purpose was bigger than personal comfort. Without purpose, challenges feel heavier. You're more likely to give up, more likely to see discomfort as pointless suffering. But when you know why you're enduring, you can bear almost any how. Viktor Frankl, a modern thinker inspired by Stoic ideas, said it best. Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. So, how do you find that purpose? The Stoics advise looking inward, to your values, your principles, and your role in the greater human community. Ask yourself, what is worth the discomfort? What is worth my time, my energy, my focus? Once you answer that, resilience stops being an abstract skill. It becomes a necessity. You no longer train your mind just to be tough. You train it to protect and advance what truly matters to you. And here's the beauty of it. When purpose becomes your compass, even life's storms can't throw you off course. The waves may push you around, but they won't sink you. In the next part, we'll explore how the Stoics balanced ambition with acceptance, chasing goals without becoming a slave to outcomes. If purpose gives you direction, ambition fuels the journey. But the Stoics had a unique way of handling ambition. They chased their goals with full effort, yet held the results lightly. To most people, this seems impossible. How can you aim for something without being consumed by whether you succeed or fail? The Stoics solved this by separating what's in your control from what isn't. Your effort, your preparation, your attitude. Those are yours. The outcome? That belongs to fate. Epictetus taught that suffering often comes from trying to control things that were never yours to control. Imagine planting a garden. You can choose the seeds, water the soil, and pull the weeds. But the rain, the sun, the weather, those are outside your command. If you obsess over them, you rob yourself of peace. This approach doesn't mean lowering your standards or caring less. In fact, it means caring more, about the right things. The Stoics poured themselves into their work because they valued the process, not just the prize. Success was a welcome guest, but never a hostage taker. The power of ambition without attachment is freedom. When you're no longer enslaved to outcomes, you can move faster, think clearer, and act bolder. A failed attempt stops being a personal tragedy and becomes another step in your training. So, as you chase your goals, ask yourself, am I working for the outcome alone, or am I honoring the process? If the outcome vanished tomorrow, would the effort still have been worth it? In the next part, we'll see how the Stoics cultivated gratitude, not as a soft virtue, but as a practical strategy for strength. For the Stoics, gratitude wasn't just a feel-good practice, it was a tactical advantage. While most people only noticed what they lacked, the Stoics trained themselves to focus on what they already had. And in doing so, they fortified their minds against despair. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to appreciate simple things: waking up, breathing, seeing the sun. Seneca advised writing down blessings daily, not to ignore life's problems, but to keep perspective when problems arose. Gratitude, in their view, was like carrying a shield. It deflected envy, resentment, and the corrosive belief that "I'll be happy when." Think about it. If you base your happiness entirely on what's missing, you'll always be in deficit. Gratitude flips the equation. It tells your mind, I have enough to act, to live, to grow right now. This mental shift transforms challenges into opportunities. For example, losing a job might spark panic in most people. A Stoic, grounded in gratitude, might still feel the sting, but they'd also see it as a chance to redirect their skills, to explore paths they'd never have considered. That clarity comes from focusing on what remains, not obsessing over what's gone. Gratitude also strengthens resilience because it keeps your spirit light under pressure. When you can see even the smallest good in a situation, you stop feeling like life is against you. You begin to recognize that, despite hardship, there is still something to work with. So practice this daily. Name 3 things you're thankful for, not in a vague way, but specifically. Do it especially when life feels heavy. Over time, you'll notice that gratitude doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you stronger. In the next part, we'll explore how Stoics mastered self-control to guard their inner peace. Gratitude gives you perspective, but self-control protects it. Without self-control, even the most grateful mind can be thrown into chaos by impulse, temptation, or provocation. The Stoics treated self-control not as self-denial, but as self-respect, a way of saying, I value my peace too much to hand it over to every passing urge. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with distractions, endless notifications, tempting ads, quick dopamine hits from scrolling. Each one is a tiny pull away from your focus, your purpose, your calm. Without self-control, you become a slave to the moment, reacting instead of choosing. Epictetus taught that true freedom comes from mastering your own desires and aversions. If you can't say no to what harms you or yes to what helps you, then you're not free, no matter how much liberty you think you have. Self-control is the key that unlocks that freedom. This doesn't mean rejecting pleasure altogether, it means not letting pleasure own you. The Stoics enjoyed good food, conversation, and comfort when it came their way, but they never needed those things to function or to stay calm. By keeping desires in check, they ensured that loss or change wouldn't shatter their stability. Self-control is also about emotional discipline. Anger, for example, might feel justified in the moment, but it often leaves regret in its wake. The Stoics trained themselves to pause before reacting, to ask, will this action serve my purpose, or will it betray it? That pause is where peace is preserved. As we move into the final part, we'll see how the Stoic way ties all these principles together, creating a life of strength, clarity, and purpose no matter the storm. When you step back and look at it all, embracing discomfort, training the mind, finding purpose, balancing ambition, practicing gratitude, and guarding your inner peace, you see the Stoic way for what it truly is, a complete blueprint for living with strength and clarity no matter what life throws at you. The Stoics didn't promise a life free of pain or difficulty. They promised something far better, the ability to remain unshaken in the middle of it, to walk through storms with steady steps, to face loss without losing yourself, to pursue your goals with intensity, but without being chained to the outcome. This isn't about becoming someone cold or detached. It's about becoming someone steady, someone reliable, someone who can be counted on when the world turns chaotic. And that kind of person isn't born. They are built through daily practice and deliberate choices. The truth is, you don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Life is happening right now, and every small choice you make is either shaping you into someone stronger or softer. The Stoic way is simply choosing the path that makes you stronger. If these ideas inspired you, then keep walking with us on this journey of strength, wisdom, and resilience. Subscribe to truMinds so you don't miss the next chapter, and if you found value in this, give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you're applying these lessons in your life. Because in the end, wisdom isn't just meant to be learned, it's meant to be lived.